Welcome to Barn Banter, the podcast by Horse Illustrated. Each month, we bring guests to educate, entertain, or inspire you as you pursue the horsey lifestyle, plus an adoptable horse with a unique story. I'm Susan Friedland, an equestrian author, blogger, and speaker with a soft spot for off-track thoroughbreds. You can find me at my blog, saddleseekshorse.com, or on Facebook or Instagram at saddleseekshorse.
And I'm Holly Kakamis, editor-in-chief of Horse Illustrated and Young Rider magazines. You can find us at horseillustrated.com, youngrider.com, and Horse Illustrated and Young Rider on Instagram and Facebook.
Holly, Happy New Year. It's 2026. I am thrilled to know you and to banter with you for another year. How are you doing?
Oh, I am doing good. Sorry about my dogs barking. We have two new adopted Pomeranians that are crazy.
Okay, we want to hear about dogs. I love dogs. I've not met your dogs. I've seen them. They're super cute. We need the story.
Okay, so we have always been Pomeranian people, my husband and I, and look to adopt either a mix or a Pomeranian. So our old dog passed away, sadly. And we were kind of looking for a new dog, and it was very hard to find any adoptable dogs in our area. They all got adopted before you could even go see them, just because we were looking for.
That's good. I mean, it's hard.
It's great. Yeah, no, in Southern California, they fly off the shelves, especially the smaller dogs that, most people live in apartments and need a very small dog, so they tend to go quickly. But, so we actually found one that I was just visiting a neighbor. Our boys were playing together, and another neighbor walks out of her house with this adorable fuzzy black dog. And I go, "Is that a Pomeranian?" And she goes, "Oh, maybe you're a mix. I don't know. I'm just fostering it." And I'm like, "So it's for adoption?" We've been trying everywhere to find a dog to adopt, and we haven't been able to find one. So that is how we met our first dog. And then when we brought him home, another rescue called us back that was just behind on paperwork. And they said, "We saw your application," and it was the only one we really liked. And they actually preferred him to go to a house that had at least one other dog, which we weren't planning to have. I said, "Guess what?
But they're small. They don't take up much space."
And so we're in the crazy. They're both very young, not puppies, but very young. They eat everything, chew on your stuff. So
like a year
training.
old, or do you have any idea how old?
Supposedly like in the 1 to 2 year old kind of time frame. So I'm not used to that. I'm used to our last, older dog, and the one before that being very old. So
one of them is they're both fluffy, but who is the black one? And then what does the other one look like? What are the names?
Okay. So they're both Luca. Males. They both had to be neutered, right before we got them. And so Luca, we think, is maybe a mix. He is, the black one. And then the white one is Wyatt. He is a purebred Pomeranian. They're both about 15 pounds each. So they're compatible size. They play together all the time, which is great, but they are pure chaos and wild, but they are just so sweet. They are both absolutely love to cuddle and cuddly and cute and fuzzy, but also chaos.
I'm sure your son loves having
he
young
absolutely
dogs around. But speaking of Geo, he rode a horse for the first time. You do tell.
This is like pop the champagne moment. We have been waiting so long to get this boy on a horse, and he just wasn't ready and was too scared. And so I kept saying, "Are you sure you want to?" Because we have a 28-year-old Arabian at my barn that gives little kids rides, and, just used to it, is totally calm. So he said he loves the horse so much, and the horse is his friend, and he wants to ride him. And because I've taken him out a few times to just meet the horse, and So I was like, okay, if we're really doing this. So I put a little saddle on and, he still had his halter and lead rope for me but I had a, hackamore on top of it so my son could hold the reins. And he's like, I love this. And I thought he'd be so scared. He's never been up that high. And the horse moving is a very unusual thing to feel if you've never ridden. And I said, are you scared? He goes, no, I love it.
Well, you rode when you were pregnant, didn't you?
I did for a little while. I had to stop a lot earlier than I intended just because of various pain all over my body. But maybe he remembered it. I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah. So he surprised me a lot. And I thought I was just going to walk him like 10 feet and then get him right back down. And I said, you want to keep going? Yeah, I want to keep going. I said, well, if we cross the road, we can ride in the arena because these are small horse properties. You have to kind of walk half a mile to the ring. So he said he wanted to, so I led him. I was on foot with the halter, and he rode all the way down, did a little in the round pen, just circling around me all the way back home, and the horse started getting crazy because another horse was in a turnout ring, like bucking.
Oh, no.
And I was like, well, let's just take you down. You'll walk with me across the street. It's very scary to me to like cross a 6-lane road with a child and a horse. So we got that done. The horse was still prancing like we're going to talk about lips. Like
the lip is on.
I have never seen this horse have any energy. Of course, it happened that day, but it had rained, and you know how it is in California. The horse would get cooped up a little.
So, but did he know that the horse was being crazy, or was it all just kind of flawless? Like,
no,
hey,
I don't think he understands what the horse is supposed to do yet. So, in a way, it was good because he just had completely calm expression, and I'm like, I'm going to take you down now, and he's just like, okay. Yeah. He's like, well, we can probably put you back up now. The horse is being good. Anyway, it was not what I would have expected for a first ride. And then he's been asking to go back ever since. And he said, you know what my favorite thing is, Mom? Because I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know if he's going to say roller skating or swimming or what's his favorite thing. He goes, riding. He's like doing this with his hands. He goes, riding. And I'm like, what is your favorite thing? So maybe after 6 years, we have finally got a little rider in the family. I'm so excited. So that's going to be some of his presents. We have not had Christmas yet as of this recording. So he's going to get some cowboy boots and some Wranglers because they do not make English clothes for very young boys, only for girls. So I had to go with the Western, but that's okay.
This is amazing. So I am to have
safe heels on his boots, and he's already got a helmet, and it's actually the same helmet. It's a riding helmet, but it fits him so well that I prefer it for his bicycle and scooter time. So we just use the helmet.
All other activities, you're wearing the riding helmet.
Exactly. So he looks kind of funny in his little riding helmet for the scooter, but. Anyways, that is my story, but I know Susan also has an interesting story about something that I am dying to try, which is side saddle. So will you tell me all about it?
Well, last summer I met another rider in the area, local. I was at an event and found out she rode side saddle, and immediately I was like, what? That's the coolest, and started asking questions. And she was so enthusiastic, passionate, and really just loves not just the act of riding, but the history and what goes along with it. And so I was kind of obsessed to learn more, started following her on social media, and she fox hunts side saddle. And so it's been cool. So I mean, she's acquaintance. Well, then I found out that she was going to be teaching a side saddle clinic. And, I said, oh, my horse, I don't have a saddle. I don't have a horse. I was like, no, just show up. We've got horses. We've got the saddles. We'll get you going. And so I went, and it was very interesting. I probably only rode for maybe 5 to 8 minutes. And that was intentional because she said, if you've never assumed that position before in a saddle it's taxing on your core and your muscles, your hip and all of that. And so she was saying how like the first time that she was, early days of side saddle was like painful. But so it was really cool. I rode a Lusitano. And there were probably, I think there were 6 of us total. We each took our little, 15-minute-ish block. And getting on was interesting. So, thankfully, and I didn't know what order we were going in. And so the first person went, and I'm like, phew, I could watch what they're doing with her to kind of get the feel of it. And then they said my name next, and I was not prepared. And so I walked over, but extra tall mounting block. I was in a Western side saddle, which I learned there's Western in English, and it was so beautiful. The tooling and the seat is it's almost like being on a saucer. Like it was very wide to accommodate, I don't even know how to describe the different aspects of it. But so I kind of got on like normal, and then I had to hike my right leg over to the left side. And there's that kind of little arm, and there's a technical term for these things, and I don't remember what they were. And then she kind of, positioned my body like, okay, so you want it this way. And the words I was not prepared to ever hear was point your toe down. So my right toe was supposed to be pointed down because then that gets your right thigh in the correct position. And then also with the reins, you would have thought I had not ridden a horse before because I felt so discombobulated that I didn't know where to put my hands. And so it was like, have your hands on either side of your knee. Like, again, another phrase I have never heard in all of my riding days. So they led me around. So she was walking next to me, kind of narrating how I should be sitting and what to think about. And the idea is you are trying to ride as symmetrically as possible. So even though your whole lower hips and all of that are kind of off to the side, that from someone from the back looking at you, like your shoulders, hips, everything should be parallel and straight. And so that was crazy and interesting. So then the owner of the horse, who's a classical dressage trainer, was leading me around. And then they said, well, do you want to trot? And I'm thinking, no, I do not want to trot, because I didn't feel like I was going to fall, but it just was such an unusual feeling. And I just was like, I don't have the hang of this yet. And I actually had a flashback to something our guest is going to comment on, like those days when you're doing the first pony rides and you're just kind of sitting there and people take you around. And I was totally okay with that. So then the trainer.
Do you post? If you trot, do you post?
No. Oh. So then she said, well, do you want to do shoulder in? And I'm thinking, I don't know how to do shoulder. So from in hand, she got this horse to do shoulder in, and no one got it on video. So that was my first time doing shoulder in. And it was awesome. And so then the part that was tricky, so getting on wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Getting off, you then unhook your right leg, and then you just jump down on the left side. So, you know what I'm saying? It was just such a weird thing, because it's like I'm jumping into the abyss, and I forgot to kind of bend my knees. But they were both there. I grabbed kind of their hands, and so it was cool. And then afterwards, someone had a documentary there about these side saddle female riders in Canada, and they have a race for the Calgary Stampede, and they gallop side saddle, and they're in all their beautiful attire. One was kind of, English. And I was like, I'm channeling Lady Mary, if you watch Downton Abbey, Lady Mary vibes. And then the other women with the cowgirl, they just had these beautiful, exquisite outfits. And so at the end of the race, where they're just, they were galloping, and it was at a racetrack, and there were probably thousands of fans there cheering. They had mud splattered all over their faces and their beautiful attire. And yeah, so it was really fun. And then they served us kind of wine and cheese, and we just chatted, and it was such a nice way to spend a Friday evening. It was really fun. I hope to do it again.
It sounds fun, but I feel my body in pain just thinking about this, like trying to twist just like that unnatural for if you're not used to it, like where your hips are like not in the normal position and then trying to like face forward with your shoulders just feels like, you know, you'd have this like muscle pain the next day after trying it or something. Did you get sore?
No, because I didn't do it long enough. And I actually, part of the reason I didn't want to trot was I have an old back injury that was so severe when I injured it. I went to the ER and I thought my appendix had burst. Like I thought something was seriously wrong with my body because I was in so much pain. And they're like, oh no, you just have a muscle spasm in your back. So anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. No trotting. But there was another woman who trotted a lot and she looked absolutely beautiful. And so I said to her afterwards, I was like, you were amazing. Are you a dressage rider? And she said, yes. I said, okay. Cause I said, you're trotting. You looked impeccable and like you'd been doing it your whole life. And so, yeah. So come visit us. We can set up a little clinic, I'm sure.
Well, that just reminded me when my friend got married, I think it was around 2009. She just had this idea. She wanted to ride down the aisle side saddle on her off-track thoroughbred. And we all were like, are you crazy? Like wedding gown. The horse has never been conditioned to any of this. But she did it. I led the horse and he was a solid citizen for sure. Yeah. He was not your typical, what you think of as an off track, but he did it. And it was coming down this like gravel hill. It was pretty steep. Gosh. And she's got this dress like flowing and thank goodness nobody died. Like I was so worried.
So by the way, so I just wore like regular riding clothes. And then at the end, they did like a little photo op for each person and she had what they call them aprons, which looks like a dress. And mine, in true to Sound of Music style, she said, oh, I made that one out of an old curtain.
Oh, no way.
So anyway, people have to go on my social media at Saddle Seeks Horse. And if they go back a little bit, they can see that photo. But, the wedding thing. She commented that horses that have never been ridden side saddle generally take to it and they like it. And she said part of the she has 2 mares and she said her mares love it and she rides astride and side saddle. And she said, I cannot micromanage when I'm riding side saddle. And that because we were asking, well, how do you cue for canter if you don't have a leg? And it's like, it's through your hip and like the position of your hands and your, so, it sounds like you learn to ride in such a light and, like be very precise with the aids and that translates well over into riding with the way we normally ride astride. So it's fascinating.
That is cool. Well, yes, I will have to try it sometime because I just think it would be a hoot. And, it's like driving. It's just a new thing to do with a horse. And
there's so much to do with horses. That's why it's so cool.
Like, I've barely even ridden Western since, I don't know, 20 years ago. Like I would like to do that again. So there's always more to do. Get out there and try some new things this new year. I think that fits well with our theme for this month. And
yes.
Susan, why don't you tell us about our guest that we're about to talk to?
Well, I'm a big fan of today's guest. She is an avid barn banter listener and someone I've known literally my whole life because it's my older sister, Linda, and she is a rewriter. And she has been journaling. She was out of the saddle for about 30 years. And a couple years ago, she started riding again and leasing a Lipizan. And so she journals every single ride and has for the past 2 years. So I think she might share with us what she's learned from that experience. I've wanted to journal every ride and I sometimes go through fits and spurts, but she's been so consistent with it. And I've really seen her progression and growth as a rider. And we've got some fun sister shenanigans up our sleeves for 2026, which I think listeners will want to hear about.
And with that, here is our guest, Linda Nelson.
For special rates on Horse Illustrated and Young Rider magazine subscriptions just for our podcast listeners, visit horseillustrated.com/barn banter.
So joining us today, our guest on Barn Banter is Linda Nelson. And Linda is a rewriter with a story that probably speaks to many of our listeners. So we wanted to talk to someone also just for the new year that is interested in journaling, personal growth, how we can all incorporate that into our equestrian experience. Linda, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And I should mention that Linda is also my co-host Susan's sister. So we were able to find a great guest who is very applicable and also Susan's sister, just so you know. So my first question is just about your early horse experience. What kind of riding you did, when you started, what made you stop after being an avid rider?
Well, my first memory of riding was a horse that my grandparents had taken us to go see. It was a friend of theirs, and I remember still being on top of it and the feeling of like just joy. And then I rode, the typical pony rides like everybody usually does, which you're not really riding, you're just sitting, which I always felt was fun. And I had toys, of course, that were horses, John and Jane West. So the older readers will recognize that probably. And I played with them. That was very fun. And then when I became more of a teenager, I was able to go to camp and ride Western horses there. And then my senior year of high school, I applied to work at that same camp, and they hired me as a camp counselor, but they were short workers in the barn. And so they asked for volunteers, and I said, yes, I would love to, which I didn't really know that much about horses. But I learned there like parts of the saddle and parts of the horse. And it was just a great experience that summer of riding. And then in my 20s, well, my sister had horses and she won. Look, that's another story, but she won a baby. And so once that was trained, I would ride that horse with Susan. And so it was a lot of sister time of riding. And then when I got into my that was 20s. And then when I was in my 30s, I was married and had children and just kind of walked away from it I would watch Susan ride, but otherwise I just didn't have the time. And exactly what we talked about earlier, Holly, like the finances, I didn't have the time or the money to just devote to that joy that I used to enjoy. But yeah. And then what got me back into riding was also my sister.
I eavesdropped on a conversation at the barn.
And what did they say?
Okay, so I don't know if you remember this, Linda, but so Linda had come out to, kind of watch me ride my horse Knight, Holly, and the listeners. And she hopped on him a few times and enjoyed him, but said he's too tall. He's 16'3", and Linda's a little bit shorter than I am. And so all that to say, there was one horse in the aisle that stood out to her, and I don't even know why. And it was a beautiful white Lipizzan mare. And I overheard some people talking about the mare could stand to lose a few pounds. And they were trying to figure out how to incorporate some more rides. And I just happened, I was leading Knight down the aisle, and I said, I know who could ride her. And I totally butt in, which isn't normally my character. But I said, my sister would like to ride this horse. So take it away from there, Linda.
Yeah, so I was given the opportunity. I do remember walking past her stall one day and saying, this is the horse I want to ride. Because she's 15'2", I think. So just not as tall as Knight, not as intimidating. And Lipizzans are built stockier. And so I just felt like she would be sturdy to ride as I was coming back as a new rider. And they talked to the lady that owned her, which she travels quite a bit. And so she was thrilled to have me go ahead and lease her. And I've leased her now for 2 years and have learned a lot.
And okay, I'm interested to know, you know how they say, what is that saying about riding a bike? Like if you haven't ridden a bike, it just comes back and all that. So Linda, did you have any surprises when you got back in the saddle? Was it harder than you remember? Did you feel like you just picked up right where you left off? Tell us a little bit about those first few rides.
Well, I didn't mention this, but when Susan had her horse, we did take lessons in Dunham Woods at a barn, and there was school horses, and that we rode hunter jumpers. So then I transferred to the English saddle. So when I rode Bettina,
Dressage.
Yeah, it was dressage. What did I?
You said English saddle. Keeping you on track.
Yeah, so I rode dressage, and then so the thing that I did remember, it is kind of like riding a bike. Like I felt like my muscle memory was there. The thing that wasn't there was the muscles. It was totally different. I felt like my balance was okay, but just the muscles were so different being in my 60s now.
So what fears or doubts or like, do you remember like what was kind of going on in your brain when you were realizing like, oh, I think my body knows what to do, but it's not really doing it?
Surprisingly, I did not have fears or doubts once I was in the saddle, but going to the barn almost every single time, I would have such apprehension and nervousness thinking about doing it. Because I think when you're older, you realize all the things that can go wrong and how if you do get hurt, your body won't heal as quickly as when you're younger. So that was, I would say, the biggest surprise about coming back to riding. I still had the love, I had the drive, but the apprehension just threw me for a loop. I was not ready to deal with that. But Susan had given me a suggestion of a book to read, which helped me immensely with that. And I would recommend it to your readers. Brain Training for Riders, Tame the Lizard Brain. And it's kind of a book that explains how to just get a control of your emotions and make it a positive thing. And it's normal to feel that way.
Well, the other thing too, I feel like you know, or at least the barn we're in is very safety first, and the trainers are very skilled, and they're not going to push people past what they're capable of, and tuned into our emotions too. So if you're kind of at a wall, even though if they think you could probably, canter a circle, but maybe your body isn't going with it. I don't know. Is this
absolutely
feeling right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very secure, I really like our barn a lot. I was never competitive. I did not play school sports, and I just feel like they meet you with where you're at, even though it is an eventing barn and there's some excellent aggressive riders there. You never feel
like you, Holly.
Yeah.
Well, not these days. I'm in the stepping back with a young child phase myself. So
yeah, but I follow you on social media. I see those galloping up the hills there in Southern California.
I can't wait to be a jumper again. It'll happen. So
yeah, that's great.
But and then, are there any other kind of safety things that you have implemented or new inventions since you rode, 30 years ago?
Well, the helmet for sure. We rode the velvet ones back in the day, or didn't wear one at all, riding Western. Mm-hmm. And my vest. And to be honest with you, the safety vest that we bought, because actually what got me back into riding was we were going to go to Ireland, and I bought a safety vest for that
hard vest
trip. Yeah, hard vest. And I'm probably one of the few riders that I wear it religiously. So that would be a big safety change, I would think, which is positive.
What about stirrups?
Oh, breakaway stirrups. You taught me about those.
Yeah,
those breakaway stirrups too.
The safety ones that have like the kind of little hinge, so the outer edge, would flap up in the event your foot got caught. So if someone, Linda, is listening to this right now and they're thinking, yeah, I want to do this 2026, this is my year to get back in the saddle, what kind of encouragement or advice would you have for them?
I would say definitely do it. It's such a fun season of your life where you can concentrate kind of on yourself and go at your own pace. Another thing I've done, I think it's super healthy to ride. I try to lift weights and I try to do the stationary bike to keep myself feeling good and getting you can see yourself getting stronger. And I think that's really good for bone density and everything. So I totally think that if you have the means and the way to do it, I highly recommend it. And it's more fun if you have a friend or sister to do it with.
Yeah. So the other thing, and I have tried to do this, and I really am inspired by what you've been doing faithfully for 2 years now, and that is you journal every ride. Yes. And so what prompted you to start doing that, and how would you say it's kind of shaped your progress?
I think I was prompted to do it because I was an auditor for 16 years and I was a teacher for 18, and I'm just used to keeping track of records. And so I thought, I want to see what I did, when I did it, how long I did it, and just the progress, if I was making any for myself. It wasn't really for someone else to read. It's just for myself to keep track. And then I found this fabulous app, Equilab, it's called, and it's free. And so I started using that, and it would keep track of like the day, the weather, how many minutes I rode, how many transitions we've done, how many minutes we walked, how many we trotted, how many we cantered, how far you go, the speed, the horse's energy, your calories burned. It was amazing. And you can add a picture or a video to each of your rides and then write a little summary at the end.
So is that how you do it? Or
I record on the Equilab as soon as I start riding. And then when I'm finished, I go home and I make just a Google Doc and I type up what I did. And I highlight how long I rode. And it's fun to see my trotting goes from 1 minute to 4 minutes to, I think the most I've ever done is 16, which, it's just fun to look back.
Okay, I have two things to insert.
Sure.
The first is Holly. I do remember this very vividly when Linda first started back. I referred to her, I was like, you had a tomato face.
Yes.
Because at the end of a lesson, her face was just beet red, and she doesn't have a tomato face anymore. Well, granted, it is winter right now. But I don't know. Did that go into any journal entries?
Yes.
Like you referred to your own tomato face?
Yes. Yes.
And then the other thing, the journaling. Oh, I forgot my other comment and or question.
I was just noticing because I just did an article on equestrian apps in the February 2026 issue of Horse Illustrated, which I just got on my desk here. It's already out, and that app is on there. So I was like, oh no, I hope I didn't miss one, because I was working really hard to get a bunch of good apps on there, and Equilab is on there. So yay. A quick plug for the first issue of 2026. So,
which is the 50th year. Woohoo!
Yes. 50th anniversary of Horse Illustrated. So yeah, this will be our first podcast of 2026 too. So yay. But yeah, that's why we kind of wanted to cover the journaling, planning your year, keeping track of everything. And Linda, my journaling question for you, because I'm always interested in journaling, but I just have never been very good at it, is if you use it to track goals, or if it's more of a reflective tool, or how it is that you use it for.
For me, it's more of a reflective tool, just to go back and see what I did that day. And then I try to write down takeaways also, so I can remember maybe if my trainer told me to do certain things. It's amazing how quickly you forget. But just today, this Equilab sent me a thing with my yearly goals, and it told me like how far I've ridden, how many hours I've ridden, how I've ridden compared to, I think it said I rode 85% more than the average person on Equilab. So I didn't even know it had that. So that's kind of fun.
I love I think the yearly wrap up is like the latest rage of, you can post it on your social media. The Spotify Wrapped is the big one that everyone likes to do. So I like that the equestrian apps are.
Now that I know that your journal isn't a Google Doc, I think you should share it with me, and then I can like put comments and like her face was red. Was trotting too slowly.
Well, sometimes I have about Night in there. You might not want to read. Night was going crazy.
Okay, so this could be kind of fun. I don't want to read my older sister's diary that she hid under the bed or anything like that. I would never do that. But do you have any excerpts that would be suitable for prime time that you'd be willing to share? Maybe just a little snippet of a ride from the past.
Sure, I do. I picked out a couple that I thought would be kind of fun. The first one is from last December, and I had a group lesson on Bettina, which is the name of the horse. I told my trainer that my goal that day was to be a pretty rider. She said it has a lot to do with a horse that will go forward. You'll have less bouncing around. So we did lots of walking and some trotting patterns and serpentines. At the end, we each did arc quarter lines and then a 20-meter canter each way. I felt my stomach muscles! Exclamation. Bettina and I were both sweaty afterwards. Then we rode 1 hour and 17 minutes. My takeaway was to get Bettina to move forward with 3 taps with my heel, then put all my weight in my stirrups, keep my reins low by the crest of her head because I tend to raise them. And then when I trot, keep my fingers closed. And then I also read in a book, write down your positives no matter what they are. So that day my positives were, I had a great mount and dismount. It can be anything simple, like something that, that's an accomplishment. I had a fun forward trot, and she looked pretty in the mirror, and my steering was good to keep her into the corners. So it doesn't have to be anything super fancy, just, positive things that you have done. Then I have, do you want to hear another one or no?
Oh, yeah. Well, did you do any drawing in there? Did you upload photos? Because I know, we've done some polls classes together that have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is the polls class one. This one was from April 12th of 25. It was 51 degrees, which even when you're in the barn taking lessons, the Equilab will record the temperature. I said, another fun walk truck polls class. There were some other ladies in there. I said, my teacher's such a great teacher, setting up polls and having each horse go according to their abilities. Zigzags energized Bettina, so we did that before we went into the canter. One time she was so forward, she even started flipping her head as we finished going through. Ha! I did a half halt and gave her the reins, as Laura suggested in the last lesson, and she did keep a nice pace. We did our final solo pattern, going each way, and we got it correct the first time. My trainer commented how happy the horse looked. My friend said it'll be so nice when your mom gets to video, because our mother comes quite a bit to the barn and videos us just for fun.
She likes to video us or take photos of us as we're mounting the horse. So it's that's
not so fun. I was going to say you're so lucky, but I don't want a picture of me getting this.
I'm trying to do a beautiful trot and be really correct, or a nice flowing canter, and it's we get a picture of us standing there talking to each other with our reins long, and we're slouching in the saddle. And
and my takeaways, that day we rode 1 hour and 14 minutes. I walked 36 minutes. I trotted 13. I cantered 20 seconds, and I wrote because I think it was probably more than 20 seconds. And then my takeaways were, remember to sit first before I asked for the canter. Whisper the word canter. Do not yell it. So I must have been loud. And then try to use a softer voice when counting your strides over the poles, because I think we were kind of yelling them out. I don't know.
So are you... do you go back, or did you only go back now because of this podcast, or do you go and kind of review and just be like, oh yeah, I haven't heard Laura or Jennifer say close your fingers? Are you kind of monitoring how you're doing with it?
Once in a while I do, but not very often. I printed it all out just now for the podcast, just as a reference. But otherwise, I just keep it, like I said, on the computer. And a lot of times we'll try to remember what day did the saddle fitter come out, or what day was the chiropractor there for the horses. So that way I at least have notes of that as well. And then my last one, can I read that? And then I'll be done with that. Okay.
I really wish you'd share the doc with me, and then we could take turns, and I could give my commentary, and that would be so much more fun.
Heckle, is that what you mean?
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Okay. This one said we had another polls class, 90 beats per minute, the songs were, which, that was something I didn't know.
Did you write the song down?
I didn't. Oh. And I said it was quite fun. Bettina loves poles and gets very strong. Honestly, cantering poles reminds me of hunter-jumper lesson days. Muscle memory is coming back. She was going so fast, chasing the other horse, I had to keep my heels down. I was afraid she was going to run into the other horse, so I asked if I could lead the pattern. We were supposed to canter 2 spaced-out poles, 5 strides each, but we were going so fast I couldn't stay straight, or we'd hit the horse ahead of us. I did a big canter serpentines around the poles, and then I apologized to my trainer, who said, "Don't apologize. Those cantered serpentines were great."
Well, you know what? Okay, so this kind of segues perfectly into the next section. Is I think probably not many of our listeners have had a chance to ride a Lipizzan, and Bettina's pretty special because her background was from Temple Lipizzan, and I don't know that she was ever used in shows, but they actually had routines to music and all of that. So maybe what would you say is different or cool about riding a Lipizzan as opposed to some of the other maybe more traditional breeds like thoroughbreds or quarter horses or warm bloods, or the types of horses people tend to ride?
Yeah, one thing about Lipizzans I'm coming to realize is they like to be with other horses. And I think it's just the way they were trained. So if there's another horse in the arena with her or in a poles class, she loves it. If you try to do things like I did yesterday by yourself in the arena, she's not that enthused. She just doesn't have a lot of energy to do it. I think the group just really energizes her. I mean, I read The Perfect Horse. I don't know if you've heard of that book, but
by Elizabeth Lutz. Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're just such a sturdy breed, and you feel very taken care of on her back. I mean, she's a solid horse. Her favorite thing, honestly, is to go out on trail rides. She's very forward outside, very sure-footed. So, yeah, she's been
she's got
excellent.
Big feet and just like a kind of, I don't want to say stocky, but just, thick bones, and she's pretty cool.
I feel like it was
she's got
excellent.
some fancy buttons that I don't think I've ridden her. I think once or twice, but I think she's a fancier horse than we would know what to do with, or wouldn't know how to ask her to do some of the upper level dressage things.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to say about Lipizzans?
I think she's been a
some
great
other
fit
questions
for me.
And the lightning round.
Well, I just wanted to say, too, the riding for an hour and 15 minutes at a time, especially like you're in a ring doing dressage, that is hard work. I can't ride for an hour plus. I just do trail riding. And after that 1 hour mark, my body just falls apart. I'm in my 40s and I can't even dismount after being on for an hour. My whole body's just and I work out and lift weights and do all the stuff, but man, that is impressive. I just wanted to say that is no small accomplishment, and it's inspiring me. So
Linda, one of the things that I've really been impressed with and have noticed over the past couple of years that you've been riding again is you've really thrown your whole heart into learning and getting educated. And I know that you've been reading some books and going to clinics, auditing some clinics and such. So would you please share with us how you've been able to supplement just more learning outside of actual lessons?
Yes, I would like to recommend 2 more books besides the one I said earlier that was Brain Training for Riders. The The next one was Build Complete Confidence with Horses by Kelly Marks. That was another fabulous one that helped. I feel like there's so much psychology in riding. It's kind of interesting, which I never really had thought about that before. And then the last one is the Equine Listenology Guide, which explains how horses think, and that makes you more patient with the horse, I think, and yourself, because you have to work on this communication with each other. And then I have attended 3 clinics so far: Tick Maynard, a personal favorite, and then the United States Dressage Federation Instructional Training Dressage Seminar Lunging Clinic. And it was kind of funny. I got there and I didn't realize it was really for trainers. But I thought, well, I'm here. I'll just join and learn as much as I can. And then the last one was Catherine Lowry Clinic. And I went to that one with my daughter. And I think the big thing for riding for me is it's a lot of family time. I see Susan 3 days a week at the barn. My mom usually comes out 1 day a week. So that's been probably one of the biggest joys, too, of getting back into riding.
And making some new friends, too.
Tons of new friends, really sweet ladies that are kind of in my same situation. You know, we're older now. We have time to just call each other at the last minute and say, hey, are you going to be available? We want to go for a trail ride, or we want to just putz around the property. And so that's been really fun.
And to your earlier question, Holly, about goals, we have a goal
yes,
for 2026. So last year, Linda found a perfect, beautiful wool piqûre, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, show coat on eBay, and it fit her like a glove. like it was tailored for her. And so I was like, well, this means you have to show. And we have a series of virtual shows, which, you know, basically it's a dressage test, and then someone videos it, and then we submit it to our local dressage area group. I did it a couple years ago. I didn't do it last year. I started and we were in the middle of recording, and then there was ice sliding off the roof outside of the indoor arena. And so night kind of spooked. And I'm like, you know what? Guess I'm not going to submit that. But anyway, so Linda, you're going to try to enter one of the virtual shows, right?
Yes. I have one. I have Intro Test A all memorized for over a year. So I need to be able to, I think, just work on that more and motivate my, it's nerve wracking because I'm not a competitive person, but yeah. I think it will be a fun challenge. And what else we want to do?
Okay, so here's our next plan. Holly, you're the first person outside of so and the rest of our listeners. So tell us what you think. So I noticed, I'm going to lower my voice. On the virtual show series, they also have a pas de deux division.
Which is?
I don't know. I guess it's a class or a division. So
explain what it is.
Well, there probably aren't that many people. So it would be like 2 people, i.e. Linda, Susan, riding a dressage test simultaneously to music. So, what do you think? Should we do it? And we could do the song, but I don't know about beats per minute, but it would be hilarious to do the song from, is it White Christmas? The Sisters.
That is my favorite.
Speed the music up.
Well, they'll switch music. So you can also, I thought we could do that, and we could do We Are Family.
Oh my gosh.
Because you could put more than one song in there.
So, I don't know. Maybe people can leave comments in the show notes if they would like to follow our pas de deux debut
training.
It has a ring to it. Well, Holly, do you like our pas de deux idea? You think we can handle it?
I love it. I'm jealous. I think it's unique. And that movie, White Christmas, and the sisters' song routine with the little feather thing, favorite. Perfect. No notes. Do it. I love it.
Okay. Well, that is my sole goal for 2026. Surely in the span of 12 months, we can figure something out. But as we close, thank you, by the way, again, Linda, for spending time with us here on Barn Banter.
This was fun.
we're going to close out in the fashion of, I've only done this lightning round with one other guest, and it was someone I admire, Tick Maynard. And so you're getting the tick treatment here with the lightning round. So the way this works is I'm going to ask you some questions, and you have to just like state the first thing that comes to mind. It does not have to be complete sentences, and it's impromptu and fun. Are you ready?
Yes.
First word that describes your first ride back.
Joy.
One thing your body remembered.
Position.
One thing your body forgot.
Strength.
Most common word in your ride journal.
Honestly, I think it's the word ha, because I have so many ha's in there with exclamation points.
Emotion you feel most after a lesson.
Euphoria.
One thing Bettina the Lipizan teaches you daily.
Patience with myself.
Finish this sentence. Coming back to horses gave me blank.
Fulfillment.
Why do you love barn time?
It's fun. It's healthy. It's a healthy place. Social. I see my family, and the mental challenge when you're in your 60s, I feel is a good thing. Like Martha would say.
Martha Stewart, it's a good thing.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And I normally ask our guests where we can find them, but you're kind of private with your social media. So if people want to follow along the horsey journey, I guess they could follow me, because I post pictures of us both sometimes, and that's at Saddle Seeks Horse on Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
Happy New Year.
So joining me today to talk about our adoptable horse of the month is Carrie Wood. She's executive director for the Kentucky Equine Adoption Center. And Carrie, it's great to have you on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Holly. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And so our horse today is a super cute young filly. A lot of times we talk about older horses, maybe even horses that are retired, companion. So it's kind of different and nice to have a young horse that's not started yet. She has just turned 2, and her name is Cyclone. So can you tell us all about, she has an interesting backstory. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about and feature Cyclone today. She came to us about 6 months ago from Eastern Kentucky. So she was part of a feral herd of wild horses roaming in Eastern Kentucky. And her herd actually left her behind because when she was foaled and was just starting to grow, she exhibited signs. She was a little smaller, she was slower. And so the herd basically left her to fend for herself. And so we rescued her, and she's been with us approximately 6 months. So her breed is what we call an Appalachian Brumby or a grade horse. And this is basically a description for a horse that we're unsure of her exact pedigree. But it's kind of a sad story. We're happy that she landed here at the Kentucky Equine Adoption Center. We have enjoyed having her. Despite what her herd thought, we think very highly of her. She's very quick to learn. She's very motivated. You show her something once and she retains it. She's a quick study. As you mentioned, Holly, she has not yet been started under saddle. So we're anxious to see what that looks like. But thus far in her training, she has been fearless.
That's amazing. And it looks like her height now, is this correct? 11 hands, so she'll top out at pony size. I have that
correct.
Right. Okay.
Yes. As I mentioned, she was a little smaller when she was born, so we think that she won't get too much larger than pony size.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of people looking for good ponies out there, and they are hard to find. So hopefully someone will take a look at these cute pictures of her. And she is kind of black, it looks like, or is she a very dark bay? She's very cute.
She's a dark bay.
Okay. Well, she looks she just looks so sweet and cute. So hopefully people will come and check her out and come out and visit you. And I'd love to know just all about the Kentucky Equine Adoption Center, how many you have and what types of horses, how long you've been around, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we received our 501c3 designation in 2008. So we're a nonprofit. We've been around, we're creeping up on 20 years. We've always been located here in Nicholasville, Kentucky, which is just outside of Lexington. We're situated on 72 beautiful acres of Kentucky bluegrass, and we have anywhere between 30 and 50 horses at any given time. Currently on property, we are hovering right around 30. With 6 intakes coming in shortly. So our horses come and then they go, and then they come and then they go. So right now we're right about 30 horses. And we are a little different in that we accept horses of all breeds. So we have Arabians, we have quarter horses, we have Pasafinos, we have Appalachian Brumbies, and of course we have thoroughbreds. So we even have a donkey. So we really think we have something for everyone. We were recently featured on Good Morning America. It aired on October the 9th, and we were selected as Kentucky's hero organization. And we are really proud and honored to be selected, and so happy to feature our adoptable horses.
Wow, that's an amazing feat. I'm definitely going to go check out that video. So I encourage everyone else to go look at that too. And I'm now remembering I have been out there with our Lexington office. We moved out to that office in 2008, and one of our editors, I think, was volunteering out there right around that time of 2008. And I think we filmed a few videos out there. It's been so long, but I do remember just the beautiful pastures you guys have and the nice barn and everything. So it's a great place. Anyone that's, in driving distance, I know there's a lot of thoroughbred places in Kentucky, but maybe if you're looking for something besides just an off-track thoroughbred, you guys are a great place to find that. Or volunteer. I'm guessing you look for volunteers as well. So.
Yes, our website is kyeac.org, and there's a tab for adopting horses and also one to volunteer and other ways to get involved. We have fundraisers throughout the year. Our next one is on February the 12th here in Lexington, and it's called Purses for Ponies. We're auctioning off designer purses and other accessories and hoping to raise a lot of money so we can help our horses.
Love that. And great timing because this episode will be out all of January. So people can have plenty of time to get ready to bid on purses and have the money go to ponies. I love it. That's a great idea. Well, Carrie, thank you so much for your time today and joining us.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate it.
Don't be shy. Show us some barn banter love by leaving a review, and you can tell all your friends too.